cars yesterday than today. We'll see how this develops down into turn one. It's like Kyle Sieg gets up into the car on the outside, loses control. Everybody just trying to avoid.
There you go. See, 3 wide. A little bit of movement on that middle car of Sieg, then up into 27, and just all this is reactionary to that.
Stephen Parsons just a hard hit right here. So it gets turned into the outside wall.
Yeah, it's disappointing for Stephen. Came here with a new sponsor, looking for a good day. Look at this right here. Look at this slide by the 27 of Jeb Burton. I don't know how he didn't wreck. That was a great save.
Looking as low as possible, just trying to get a good idea where he's at, where the corner is. Just gets loose and has to correct the car. You can't do anything but turn right, unfortunately, into the door of the car inside you. That spins you right around. We see it a lot. He dives down into 3 here, Jeff.
This all started off turn 2. Ty made it 3 wide, and it bottled everybody up on the out exit of 2, and then that allowed this to be 3 wide. And then look right here. He drives in the corner and just, boom, immediately the back end comes around.
Old Jeff Burton, his left rear quarter panel is about to tap out. Ain't completed 1 lap. It keeps getting run into over and over by these guys.
I don't know if there was contact there between those 2 cars. There's a tire mark there. I don't know if they got together.
You're going to see that 91. That was the first car I saw come around, and then that's the 43, the yellow and white car coming in loose very, very high from that angle. All right, we'll take another look. Man, I think just a slight bit of contact. As Chastain was spinning, I think he just barely caught the 43, but it's not like they're out here with a ton of grip. Everybody seems to be driving like it's on ice. So that little bit of contact into the left rear is just enough to either turn the 43 of Ellis or sometimes just accelerate you faster than your car can handle. Either way, both cars spun around. Let's see what kind of contact this 91 had. It was hard to see the first time. Or the 0 looks 3 wide.
He looks 3 wide, but the 21 goes down in the corner and just doesn't have the grip. He's so loose, he cannot turn the wheel left to drive the car around the bottom of the corner. Drives up the racetrack right into the door of the 19.
Yeah, just those old tires and not really understanding maybe the pace he can carry in there. He hasn't restarted with old tires before, you know, and so he drove in there, just miscalculated the amount of grip he was going to have. See the damage, that 10 car, right rear quarter panel. Here it is. Watch Austin Hill. Gets to the bottom, and immediately he's in trouble. Up the hill he goes and into the 19.
Yeah, he turned down in the corner. The car pitched loose as soon as he started left into the bottom. Right there. And you're right, Jeff, just going into the corner, not understanding just how hard he could go into that corner. How many times has he been into this corner on a restart on 29-lap tires? Probably not very often. Not a lot is top of the screen, getting loose up the track.
Yeah, that's one of those where, you know, we used to have drivers' meetings, and NASCAR would always tell us, if every car starts doing this, just crank the wheel to the left and lock it down. And Connor fighting it all the way, got the wheel turned back to the right, and ends up driving.
He's trying to side draft a little bit here. He's got the momentum. The 18 down into the corner, right on his door. 2 gets loose, up the track.
Oh,
I talked about it earlier. When you go down into the corner, we know this track is really low on grip. And when you race down in the corner right on somebody's door, you're taking a big risk. Trusting that guy can control his car and keep it low. Sheldon not able to do that in that situation.
And Brandon Jones in that 9 car, he can't catch a break this year. There is nothing that's gone right for them. Look at this. He's here minding his own business. They start wrecking in front of him. He tries to get slowed down, and just nothing to do.
You mentioned Brandon Jones. Take a look again. Just no opening big enough for him to slide through.
He's having some kind of problem right here. Really slow on the bottom.
Kaz Gralla coming up behind him. Gets a little bit loose, and Kaz gets in the right rear quarter panel.
Something was going on with that 48 car prior to that.
Yeah, he looks like he's struggling a little bit with some kind of an issue, maybe a tire problem. Kim, what you got?
Well, actually, right before this incident, he had come on the radio and said, I need to come down pit road. They said right side tires and fuel, so he had the intention to come down pit road, likely a tire going down. So Parker Kligerman spinning after what was a tire issue.
And probably didn't have the opportunity to wave, put his hand out down the backstretch. So Kaz Grala was just right up on him, not knowing that he was trying to come to pit road.
NASCAR threw that call.
You see Chad Chastain and the reason for the caution here.
Just lose the back of the car. Everybody at this point of the race is out of control, out of tires, out of grip. He does a good job getting it.
Just bringing him down very slow. Gets into the Geico restart zone, and off he goes. So that looks good to me. I don't see anything that was done wrong there.
The question I have is, and I think the 16 is kind of slipping and sliding, and he actually almost changes lanes, kind of getting loose and going left. You know, I don't think the 98 pulled right as much as the 16 goes left. Let's look.
He gets a shove right here. That turns him left. I think NASCAR might look at that and not come down too hard on the 98.
Well, I don't know what he does other than wreck the 16, to be honest, right? I mean, the 16's sideways turning left, and I mean, the 98 almost holds his line and just continues almost straight down the straightaway as the 16 goes left.
Well, let's remind everybody. Like Justin got up the racetrack and got on the side of Redscliffe, I believe. Just started packing up behind him. So right here, see, he starts getting up the racetrack and make contact.
Yeah, just ran out of racetrack there. It's really everybody out of control, but watch him back to the throttle here. Gasses it up. Just drives right in the door of the 31, and everybody coming from behind. A lot of